What about the crashes? Are like there's been some references. I'm pretty skeptical when it comes to alleged UFO crashes, but I think you've made some comments. Maybe some others that have worked with ATIP have made comments that there may be a program to look into that, or there may have been crashes. You all feel?
Yeah, there have been crashes. The superpowers on the Earth have had their share of crashes, and they have recovered the vehicles from their crashes. So they do have advanced technology. They have hardware, and there's a craft, and there's occupants running these craft, whatever they may be. And it's a very super sensitive topic because it's something that probably a minute fraction, less than 1/1000th or 1/100,000th of the United States military and the government are the only ones that know. The vast majority of the rest of the government really doesn't know, and that's why one hand, like the right hand, doesn't know what the left hand is doing, virtually because of the stovepiping that goes on in compartmentalized programs. So here's the thing that you should know is that the crash retrieval program is a very small program. It is not a massive, huge government infrastructure. It's a very poorly funded program, and it probably hasn't had any money for a while. I do know that the program was terminated in 1989 for lack of progress in reverse engineering anything that they had, any of the hardware that they had, and they'll resurrect it every maybe so often. So many years go by, and they'll try it again. And if they just don't succeed, compartmentalization is a killer. Scientists cannot communicate with other scientists to get help. The purpose of a black program with a special access program security wrap is you got to limit the information and exposure to the information to as few people as possible in order to produce the maximum security protection against espionage by the enemy. That limits the amount of experts that you can have working with you. And gosh, if your small group of experts are stumped, you're screwed, because you basically can't call your buddies or somebody you know of who's an expert better than you at a university either near you or at a university across the country. You can't call those guys. You can't even read them in because you're not supposed to acknowledge most of these black programs are not supposed to be acknowledged. And the interesting thing is that today there's a big move away from special access programs. They're extremely costly to maintain, extremely costly. Let me tell you this. The cost to maintain information, personnel, and physical security for a special access program can be tens of times larger than the cost of the program itself. Some of these projects that were, like, for example, that's what the 38 papers that the DIA wanted in their tasking through Bigelow Aerospace Advanced Space Studies contract was to take the physics and engineering of 2009 and 2010, extrapolate it to 2050. Are we going to be able to have a physics and engineering and a technology industrial base that'll produce a vehicle that'll match the Tic Tacs? Because what if the Tic Tacs decide all of a sudden to turn against us? We haven't seen that happen, but we've seen hints of that during Blue Book's investigation of the Northern Tier SAC encounters with the giant UFOs that shut down their warhead navigation systems. And that happened multiple times. That happened in the late 60s and happened in the mid-70s. And so we know that they're quite capable of rendering our nuclear warheads and ICBMs useless. So that's an example of when it gets bad. And then there's Polaris. Polaris is an example where the box-shaped UFOs, I think called Chupas, were actually killing some people and injuring large numbers of people. Wow. And they were using beams to do it. And I'm sure you're familiar with the Polaris case. That was Project Plate. That's what the Brazilians call Project Plate, I believe. So the Brazilian Air Force. So that's, the UFOs have not been benevolent. It's all been just hide and seek. We use stealth as much as possible so that humans don't see us in the environment. And then when we want to expose ourselves, we expose ourselves, do our little fun games, and then take off. And they may be testing our technology. They may be testing the U.S. Navy's capabilities when they do this. And also they've done it with the Air Force, too. In case they decide to become aggressive, we're screwed.